fire!
What's up, fuckers?
I was in the fire!
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Oh,
good.
my head has like disappeared. Check it out. It's gone.
Oh.
There it is. And it's gone. And there it is. Ha Awesome. Anywho. What's up? Welcome to the Traveling Skyrim Book Club.
Today we wandered into the grand city of Riverwood. Riverwood?
Riverwood. We're in the Sleeping Giant Inn in Riverwood.
I don't know how I got here. I'm like Rick. I black out, I end up somewhere, and I don't know how I got there.
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
I don't drool as much as him, though.
Yet. I got whiskey downstairs. We can fix that.
Dude, I got Crown Royal for Christmas.
It's a good gift. It's a good gift.
What do they call Christmas in Tamriel? I know it's been mentioned.
I don't think they have a Christmas. They have the New Life Festival, which is like their New Year's big festival. Every great culture has its own thing.
Right. You know what? We're going to call it Candle Nights.
Okay. Anywho, if you caught us last time, we read The Brief History of the Empire. Or at least attempted to.
Shut up.
And we're going to pick up where we left off. We're
Page
probably going to
16.
read a couple of different books this time around, because a lot of these next ones are shorter, so we'll probably read 3 or 4 of them. If you want to follow along, we will tell you what we're reading. You can pull it out in game and read along with us. We're always welcome. Everybody needs a friend.
We are your nerdy friends here in Riverwood.
Indeed.
If you guys have an idea for where you want us to read next, go ahead and put it in the comments down below.
If nobody else does, I will do it.
You're going to comment in your own video?
Yes. You think I won't? Try me.
I know Slapnuts will comment.
Yeah, probably.
Slapnuts comments on
Even if he gets off his ass and stops being a turd, yeah. No one even knows what Slapnuts is. This is an 80 leak. Like, who's this fella we've never heard of named Slapnuts?
It's just a guy who goes around and slaps your nuts, you know, just...
I don't think I'd invite him to a party. Ah, shit, Slapnuts is here. Alright, who invited Slapnuts, guys? Come on.
Fucking... Slapnuts is like the mic of life.
More inside jokes. Oh, boy. Anywho. Let's get to reading.
How would you like to read this? 1-1... Because... Or we could read 1-1-2-2 or 1-2-1. I don't know.
I don't know. If there's like extra parts, you can split up the parts or something. But I'll just read this book since it's pretty short, and we'll go from there. How's that sound?
Okay, well, I'll probably just end up reading War of the First Council, so...
Okay.
Okay.
We are reading A Social History of Cyrodiil. From the University of Gwalium Press.
What the fuck is that?
I have no clue what that is.
Okay.
You gonna look it up?
Yeah.
Alright, you do that. Anywho, historians oh my god, already off to a great start. Historians often portray the human settlement of Tamriel as a straightforward process of military expansion of the Nords of Skyrim. In fact, human settlers occupied nearly every corner of Tamriel before Skyrim was even founded. These so-called Nedic peoples include the Cyrodiilians, the ancestors of the Bretons, the Aboriginals of Hammerfell, and perhaps a new vanished human population of Morrowind. Strictly speaking, the Nords are simply another of these Nedic peoples, the only one that failed to find a method of peaceful accommodation with the elves who already occupied Tamriel. So all the Nedic peoples are like, no, it's cool, we can be friends. And the Nords are like, fuck you, and they stabbed him in the face. As Nords do. Ysgramor was certainly not the first human settler in Tamriel. In fact, in fleeing civil war in Atmora, as the Song of Return states, Ysgramor was following a long tradition of migration from Atmora. Tamriel had served as a safety valve for Atmora for centuries before Ysgramor's arrival. Malcontents, dissidents, rebels, landless younger sons, and all made the difficult crossing from Atmora to the new world of Tamriel. New archaeological excavations date the earliest human settlements in Hammerfell, High Rock, and Cyrodiil. At Misu... What does that say? Oh, that's Misu. I'm trying to read it. Merithic era, my bad. M-E. Merithic era 800 to 1000. That's before the first era. I was trying to read it as if it was a word. I'm like, Misu. Misu Iu. I swear I'm half retarded. I'm sorry.
Misu. It's okay. I would not know that meant Merithic era.
Yeah. Merithic era. That's what it stands for. All right. Centuries earlier than Ysgramor, even assuming that the 12 Nord kings prior to Harald were actual historical figures. The Nedic peoples were a minority in the lands of elves and had no choice but to live peacefully with the Elder race. In High Rock, Hammerfell, Cyrodiil, and possibly Morrowind, they did just that, and the Nedic peoples flourished and expanded over the last centuries of the Merithic era. Only in Skyrim did this accommodation break down, an event recorded in the Song of Return. Perhaps, being close to reinforcements from Atmora, the Proto-Nords did not feel it necessary to submit to the authority of the Skyrim elves. Indeed, the early Nord chronicles note that under King Harald, the first historical Nord ruler in First Era 113 to 221, the Atmoran mercenaries returned to their homeland following the consolidation of Skyrim as a centralized kingdom. Whatever the case, the pattern was set. In Skyrim, expansion would precede military, with human settlements following the frontier of conquest, and the line between human territory and elven territory was relatively clear. But beyond this zone of conflict, the other Nedic peoples continued to merge with their elven neighbors. When the Nord armies of the First Empire finally entered High Rock and Cyrodiil, they found Bretons and Proto-Cyrodiils already living there among the elves. Indeed, the Nords found it difficult to distinguish between elf and Breton. The two races had already intermingled to such a degree. The arrival of the Nord armies upset the balance of power between the Nedic peoples and the elves. Although the Nords' expansion into High Rock and Cyrodiil was relatively brief, less than 2 centuries, the result was decisive. From then on, power in those regions shifted from elves to the humans.
So all it says is that it is a university. The University of Gwillem itself is found in Cyrodiil.
Huh.
That's all it says.
That's all we got. That's all we get.
Okay. We are going to read about The War of the First Council by Yaphet Fundalis. It does not say Yaphet, but I can't pronounce that name. So
Agrippa, I think. That's what it looks like. Agrippa.
Yaphet was a cool name.
Yaphet is a cool name. Now we're going to have to do a playthrough with a character named Yaphet.
Okay, Yaphet's copyrighted from something and I don't know what.
How about Goffet?
Yaphet is from the Orville. He's the little jelly blob that Captain Mercer runs through. Yeah, his name is Yaphet.
Doesn't matter, we'll name him anyways.
Anyway, the account by the imperial scholar Akaba Fundalis is based on various imperial and Dunmer sources and written for Western readers.
Like us.
Whoa, 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 whoa! We're Western, you know. We're white.
Okay.
That slow judging turn just to say, okay.
Alright.
The War of the First Council was a First Age religious conflict between the scholar...
Secular.
I'm going home. Secular Dunmer houses, Dwemer and Dogoth, and the Orthodox Dunmer houses in Droil. How can I read Orthodox but not secular?
Oh, this is a bunch of dark elven names. This shit's hard to pronounce.
Houses in Doril, Rendon, Dress, Halu, and Telvani.
Hey, you did pretty well on those.
No, I just kind of read through them. The first council was First Pan Dunmar, governing body which collapsed over disputes about sorceries and enchantments practiced by the Dunmer and declared profane by the other houses. Shh, not on my Christian Minecraft server. The secular houses, less numerous but politically and magically more advanced, and aided by Nord and Orc clans, I didn't know they allied with the Orcs, drawn by promise of land and booty, intentionally campaigned with great success in the north of Morrowind, and occupied much of the land now compromising Redorun Vanderfall, and Telvanni district. The Orthodox houses, widely dispersed and poorly organized, suffered defeat after defeat until Nevar was made general of all house troops and levies. Nevar secured the aid of nomad barbarian tribesmen and contrived contrived to force a major battle at the secular stronghold of Red Mountain on Vanderfall. The secular forces were outmaneuvered and defeated with the help of Ashlander's scouts, and the survivors forced to take refuge in the Dwemer stronghold at Red Mountain. After a brief siege, treason permitted Nevar and his troops to enter the stronghold, where the secular leaders were slain, and Nevar mortally wounded. General Slaughter followed. I thought General Slaughter was a name for a second. I was like, that's a kick-ass name.
General Slaughter. Scratch it. We're going to do a Let's Play as General Slaughter. That is awesome.
That is the most metal name.
General Slaughter.
General Slaughter followed, and houses Dwemer and Dagoth were exterminated. Navarre died shortly thereafter of his wounds. 3 of Navarre's associates among the Orthodox houses, Vivek and Alamaxia, and Stolthasil, succeeded to control of the recreated First Council, renamed the Grand Council of Morrowind, and went on to become the God Kings and immortal rulers of Morrowind, known as the Tribunal or Almasavi.
Yeah, those are the 3, pseudo-god, Dunmer. That's actually the event.
Was I saying Dwemer this whole time instead of Dunmer?
No, there's Dwemer in there.
Okay, good.
Actually, I think that might have been before they were Dunmer. That was back when they were Chimer, I believe is the term for it. I don't know. Anywho, yeah. So that's how the God Kings became to be. I will be reading. All right, we're gonna continue over. I'll be reading the 5 songs of King Wulfharth.
I like how you added the TH after a couple seconds. Wulfharth!
Well, they're in there. I could just ignore them. Alright. God.
Yeah, you could. You could take a pen and just scratch out the TH in your book.
I mean, I guess I could. But, whatever.
THs are gay.
They are, though. Kind of.
Without them, the word the wouldn't exist. It would just be E.
It would be,
That's
That's what the word would be without Anywho. The first song of King Wulfharth is Ancient, circa First Era 500. What?
First song.
First song. God damn it. After the defeat of the Alessian army at Glenumbria Moors, that's in High Rock, where King Horag Merkiller was slain. That's a cool name, Merkiller. Wulfharth of Atmora was elected by the Pact of Chieftains. His Thuum... Shut up!
Chieftains, the football name.
Chieftains. His Thuum was so powerful that he could not verbally swear into office, and scribes were used to draw upon his oaths. Immediately thereafter, the scribes wrote down the first new law of his reign, a fiery reinstatement of the traditional Nordic pantheon. The edicts were outlawed, their priests were put to the stake, and their halls were set ablaze.
Fuck.
The shadow of King Borgas had ended for a span. For his zealotry, King Wulfharth was called Shore's Tongue and Ysmir, Dragon of the North. Well, be damned.
I've been to Shore's Tongue. Not in real life.
I was gonna say, oh yeah, where'd you go? Last Christmas? Took holiday there, it was great. Alright. Kyne's Son. The second song of King Wulfharth glorifies his deeds in the eyes of the old gods. He fights the eastern orcs and shouts their chief into hell! He rebuilds the 418th step of High Hrothgar, which had been damaged by a dragon. When he swallowed a thundercloud to keep his army from catching cold, the Nords called him the Breath of Kyne.
He swallowed a whole thundercloud.
This dude kicks ass.
I think he's related to General Slaughter.
It must be. Fucking General Slaughter. That is literally the coolest name I've ever heard. General Slaughter.
How would you like to be in an army? Sir, General Slaughter is coming. May gods have mercy.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I want to be General Slaughter now. Alright. Old Knocker.
Sounds sexual already. Oh god.
Old Knocker. Oh shit. I can't come up with this stuff. The third song of King Wulfharth tells of his death.
Oh. That is fun.
Orki, an enemy god, had always tried to ruin the Nords, even in Atmora, where he stole their years away. Seeing the strength of King Wulfharth, Orki summoned the ghost of Alduin, Time Eater, again. Nearly every Nord was eaten down to 6 years old. Boy Wulfharth pleaded to Shor, the dead chieftain of the gods, to help his people.
We're reading about 6-year-old boys. Great. Going to hell.
In a thing called Old Knocker. Shor's own ghost
FBI, open up!
then fought the Time Eater on the spirit plane, as he did at the beginning of time, and he won. And Orki's folk, the orcs, were ruined. As Boy Wulfharth watched the battle in the sky, he learned a new Thuum. What happens when you shake the dragon just so? He used this new magic to change his people back to normal. In his haste to save so many, though, he shook too many years out of himself. He grew older than the Greybeards, and died. The flames of his pyre were said to have reached the hearth of Kine itself. Interesting.
You know what? The Ash-King is a quest. I wonder if all 3 of these are like quests you can do.
Maybe.
Could you imagine getting a quest? You have started the Old Knocker.
Right? That's it. That's going to be it's General Slaughter, the Old Knocker.
What's the name of this episode?
Sure. The fourth song of King Wulfharth tells of his rebirth. The dwarves and devils of the eastern kingdoms had started to fight again, and the Nords hoped they might reclaim their ancient holdings there because of it. They planned an attack, but then gave up, knowing that they had no strong king to lead them. Then in walked the Devil of Dagoth, who swore he came in peace. Moreover, he told the Nords a wondrous thing. He knew where the heart of Shor was. Long ago, the chief of the gods had been killed by elven giants and then ripped out of Shor's heart, out Shor's heart, and use it as a standard to strike fear into the Nords. This worked until Ysgramor shouted some sense, and the Nords fought back again. Knowing that they were going to lose eventually, the elven giants hid the heart of Shor so that the Nords might never have their god back. But here was the Devil of Dagoth with good news. The dwarves and devils of the eastern kingdoms had his heart, and this was the reason for their recent unrest. The Nord asked the Devil of Dagoth why he might betray his countrymer. That said countymer. So, in that the devils have betrayed each other since the beginning of time, and this was so. And so the Nords believed him. The tongues...
Am I reading the Bible?
Right, shit. The tongues sung Shor's ghost into the world again. Shor gathered an army as he did of old, and then he sucked in the long-strewn ashes of King Wulfharth and remade him, for he needed a good general. But the Devil of Dagoth petitioned to be that general too, and he pointed out his role as the blessed harbinger of this holy war. So Shor had 2 generals, the Ash-King and the Devils of Dagoth, and he marched on the eastern kingdoms with all the sons of Skyrim. I don't know what it is about this, the way it's written, is insanely difficult to read.
It really is. And this was so. It's like, since the beginning of time, and this was so. It's like reading Genesis.
Right.
God saw it was good.
And yay, so it was good.
And he made it so.
Right, it's this is hard to read, man. We got one more part. Red Mountain. The 5th song of King Wulfharth is sad. The survivors of the disaster came back under a red sky. That year is called Sun's Death. The devil of Dagoth
Jesus.
had tricked the Nords, for the heart of Shor was not in the eastern kingdoms, and had never been there at all. As soon as Shor's army had gotten to Red Mountain, all the devils and dwarves fell upon them. Their sorcerers lifted the mountain and threw it onto Shor, trapping him underneath Red Mountain until the end of time. They slaughtered the sons of Skyrim, but not before King Wulfharth killed King Dumakalth, the dwarf orc, and doomed his people. Then Vek the devil blasted the Ash-King into hell, and it was over. Later, Kine lifted the ashes of Ysmir into the sky, saving him from hell, and showing her sons the color of blood where it was brought by betrayal. And the Nords will never trust another devil again.
So if I'm reading this right, General Slaughter, the old knocker, caused the sun's death.
Looks like it.
That's what I got out of this.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. All right. We love Wulfharth here. Wouldn't you say we love Wulfharth?
I'm a big fan of Wulfharth. The Ash-King. You
know what? I'd like to tell you guys something. This video is sponsored by Wulfharth. I have no catchphrase. I wish I could have made it up at the spot.
I got nothing. I wish I did, but I got nothing.
All right. So we are now reading, still in the history guides, The Secret Song of Wulfharth Ash-King. The truth at Red Mountain. The heart of Shor was in
Resdain
at Dagorth Or had promised. As he had promised. Duh. As Shor's army approached the westernmost bank of the Inner Sea, they stared across at Red Mountain, where the Dwemer armies had gathered. News from the scouts reported that the Chimari forces had just left Narsarsis, and they were taking their time joining their cousins against the Nords. There's a lot of civil war during this time.
Yeah.
Dagorth Or said that the tribunal had betrayed their king's trust, and that they sent Dagorth Or to Lorkhan, for that is what they call Shor in Resdain. I'm so glad. Well, I mean, Skyrim's still at civil war, but not as bad, I don't think. So that the god might wreak vengeance unto the dwarves for their hubris. This Neverwar's peace with the Dwemer would be the ruin of the Valnoth way. This was the reason that the slow muster, Dagorth Or, said, the armies grow. As Lorkhan, for what is they called Shor in Resdain, said, I do not wreak vengeance on the dwarves for the reason that the tribunal might believe. I do, nevertheless. It is true that they will die by my hand, and any whoever should side with them. This Nebher is the son of Bohethan, one of the strongest Podomaks. He is a hero to the people, despite his tribunal. And he shall muster enough that this battle will be harder going still. We will need more than what we have. And so Dagorth Or, who wanted the dwarves as dead as the tribunal did, went to Kogran. We can't play dwarves, can? Oh, no, we can. No, we can't. Can we play dwarves?
No, dwarves are the race that mysteriously disappeared.
Mysteriously my ass. He went to Krogan and summoned the house Chapatel. I read that like I was on Stargate. His nickhounds were wizards, archers, his stolen men of brass, and the Ash-King. Wulfharth, Hare Ysmir, went and made peace with the orcs, in spite of his Nordic blood, and they brought many warriors, but no wizards at all. Many Nords could not bring themselves to ally with their traditional enemies, even the face of Red Mountain. They were close to desertion. Then Wulfharth said, Don't you see what you really are? Don't you know who Shor really is? Don't you know what this war is? Huh! Then they looked from the king of the god of the devils and orcs, and some knew really that they were the ones that stayed. The Doom Drum. Jesus fuck, these have some metal names in them.
Right?
I'd play the Doom Drum. Play this drum and get $1 million, but 1 million people will die. No!
Whoa! Hold on there, champ!
Nevia cried, Kinning, a dagger made of the sound of the shadows of the moons. His champions were Dumak, a dwarf king, who carried a hammer of divine mass, and Adorno Sol, who was the immortal son of Azora. Azora. The goddess, right?
Yeah. Well, Daedric Prince. Azora's a Daedric Lord.
Mm.
She's a Daedric Prince of Dawn and Dusk, if I remember correctly.
I thought she had shrines. I thought she was Adrix.
No. Azora is Daedric.
Azora's star, that's right.
Yeah.
There's an Adric. I can't remember which one, though. And wore the Withrol Mel. They met Lorcran at the last battle of Red Mountain. Lorcran had his heart again, but he had been long from it, and he needed time. Wulfharth had met Sol, but could not strike him, and he fell from grievous wounds, but not before shouting Sol blind. Dorgrath met Dunmak, and slew him, but not before Slender attacked his lord's heart. Neverhar turned away from Lorcan and struck down Dorgrath in rage, but he took a mortal wound from Lorcan in turn. But Neverhar feigned the death and was coming early, so struck Lorcan with surprise on his side. The heart had been made solid by Sunder's turning blow, and Kinning could now cut it out. And it was cut out, and Lorcan was defeated, and the whole ordeal was thought over.
Interesting. It sounds like the battle for Red Mountain. It sounds like the what's it looking for? There's a lot of noise down there right now. That's the events that led to the disappearance of the dwarves.
It sounds like Slapnuts.
Yeah, Slapnuts is here. Anywho, I think we're going to call that. We got a few good books in. Yeah. If you like it, let us know. We'll be at a different inn next week.
If you like it, like it. Comment below what inn do you think we should be in. Maybe if you have an idea if we should do voices or something crazy, let us know.
Yeah.
That's all for now.
Bye-bye.